Supadoodle gang, welcome back to I Didn't Ask for Yappuccino. I just rashly set up my tripod, got my mic and everything because I'm home alone to film a little quick video of me doing a book review. So I apologize if the setup is kind of like I did it in a rush because I did do it in a rush because I was like, oh wait, I'm home alone. I can finally film this video. Also, as I was setting up my tripod, it literally like was about to dial the emergency contact for like iPhone, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even press anything. I think it's because I was holding down the volume and turn on, turn off buttons on my phone, which was actually crazy. It's like, why does it always like when you type your like if you type your phone with like wet hands, it's like it slides everywhere, and then you think it's like gonna send a weird message or like dox you or something. I don't know like why it's actually like that, but I wanted to film this little quick video of me doing a book review. I just finished my first book of 2026. Does it kind of count, kind of doesn't count if I started it in 2025 because I got this book as a Christmas present. So I got it December 25th and now it's January 11th, but I finished it yesterday, January 10th. Wrote a review on Goodreads. You know, I made that account swiftly. So if you want to check out my full review, take a look at the links in my description. It'll be there. And yeah, let's be friends on there. I'm slowly setting it up. I like put some books that I'm wanting to read because I also got Divine Rivals as a Christmas present, and then I have like Great Gatsby lying around my house and a bunch of like other books. I'm like, I need to get back in my readers situation because it's so fun to read, and this book was fun to read. I'm hoping I can address everything. It's called The Certainty of Chance by Jacquelyn Middleton. It's a Christmas love story, you know, because romance is my thing. Of course, I'm gonna reach for a romance. Like, I'm gonna try to read as much romance books as I can because that's like my genre of choice. You know what I mean? Like, I would reach a, I would read a mystery. I did read a mystery before, but I don't know. Romance is usually what I reach for. Not that I wouldn't give other books a chance, but now I'm rambling. Anyway, let's get into talking about this book. First of all, I know people don't tend to like real people on the cover. I'm not even sure if this is real people. Could it perhaps be just a realistic drawing? I think it's cute though. Like the vibes very Christmassy. You know, like we're in the city, Christmas city situation going on. So this book is also written in third person, which again I know is not a lot of people's it's up to a lot of people's liking, which I don't really understand. I don't have a preference. I don't care if the book has real people on it or not. I don't even care if the book cover is like maybe not eye-catching or ugly. Not that I'm saying that this book cover is. I think this book cover is fine. There's like multiple book covers. The one on Goodreads is like cartoony looking. This one is real people. It's like I don't know. Like I overheard some people like on book talk. I'm not really affiliated with that community because I feel like they can be too much. They like, oh, we don't want like corporate cartoony book covers, but we also don't want real people. It's like, what do you want? Do you want like, I don't know, like a court of thorn and roses where it's like flowery stuff? But I don't know. To me, that's more like I wouldn't reach for something like that. I'd rather have person on it, or I don't know. Hope that makes sense. But that's just my thing. Anyway, I know that turns people off, but come on, you gotta look within you. It doesn't matter what's on the inside. I mean, wait, what? It doesn't matter what's on the outside. It matters what's on the inside. And this book is good. It was a little tricky to kind of like. I think it's always like when you first pick up a book in a while, it kind of is tricky to like get accustomed to the author's like writing style and whatnot and how like they structure things. So a couple chapters diving in, I was like a little lost, but I started getting into my groove. I would like to preface that I'm kind of like not the best at comprehending texts, I would say. So I kind of just comprehended it to the best of my ability as I was like, did I even read this book? But I did. Like I read it word for word, bar for bar, you know what I mean? So this author is Canadian, Jacquelyn Middleton. I thought she was British because the way she framed certain words was very Britishy. And especially since the main character is supposed to be American and sometimes her dialogue was like British like, and I was like, I don't know, like I don't think an American person would say these kinds of things, but apparently the author is Canadian, correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't know. That's a little confusing, but so the story is set in the story is set that's a Canadian accent. The story is set in London. The main character Madeline Joy, it's still in there, has there's a volcano that erupts and it delays her flight. And she initially wanted to go to Paris with her sister Chantal. How do you guys say it? I think Chantel, right? To Paris, but a cab driver named Julian Halliwell, I think, picks her up and they kind of hit it off, blah blah blah. But I think no, they did talk when he was driving her over to her hotel, and she's going through it. Her friend Kelly passed away a year ago, near near Christmas time, like very near Christmas time. So she's still grieving her loss, and that's like a huge part of this book. I sound so stupid speaking, but I hope I'm making sense. This book focuses a lot on Madeline's grief with Kelly, which I think is such a refreshing perspective. You usually don't really see books talking, well, maybe you do, but I think especially de-enfranchised grief, which is kind of like grief that's kind of like people try to dismiss. Like, let's say you're grieving an online friend, you're grieving a pet, like let's say your fish dies and someone is like, well, get over it, it was just a fish, you know what I mean? But it's like people brush it off their shoulders, like, aren't you over it by now, blah blah blah. And people do that with Madeline, now why am I saying Madeline, like the cookie? Madeline, right? Madeline. Okay, I'm confusing myself. If it isn't obvious, I haven't talked to the camera to float. Well, I don't think I've ever been good at it, but it's been a while since I set up a camera to talk and whatnot. So I hope I'm speaking coherently. And this video is already 7 minutes in. I wanted it to be quick. I thought I'd get everything out. Where was I? So the grief is a huge part of this book, and I like how it's not like, oh well, obviously, you know, by the book cover she's gonna get with the guy, right? So you're probably thinking like, okay, she gets with the guy and kind of gets over her grief. No. And I like how the author still brings it back to the focal point of the story. Grief is not something that just goes away. You just learn to cope with it better and better each day, but it's still a part of you. It won't just magically like, oh, I'm not grieving anymore, you know what I mean? So I like how this book goes into detail about that. Well, another part that was confusing to me was kind of like the structure of how like London is, because there's like, oh well, there's the chippy choppy and the you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Some of the slang was a bit like difficult, even though they had like a glossary. I think the glossary was not too helpful. It was helpful, but not too helpful. Like, there was still some stuff that was like, oh well, maybe you should have put a glossary for this word because I don't know what it means. So I think for American readers it might be a bit difficult to understand, and especially since a lot of the story is about how London is, like various sites, various streets. It was a bit difficult for me to visualize them, but I think that's just a me problem. I think if you're a better reader and can comprehend text a lot better, maybe it's like you can paint that visual in your mind. So I was a little confused, but I did research on some of the sites. Like, there's a cheese grater place, a place called the Gherkin, the Walkie Talkie, and I actually searched it up and was like pleasantly surprised to find that's actually how they look. The Walkie Talkie looks like a walkie talkie. The cheese grater, I was like, I couldn't have named that better myself. So that was really cute, and now I want to go back to London. That my 8th grade, like, I was so obsessed with wanting to go to London in 8th grade, and now I'm like, wait, London, like, I want to go to you. Especially, it seems to be a great place for the holidays, so I want to go. My issue with like this approach of the story was that I got this book on Christmas, and it was Christmas yesterday when I finished the book, so I was like kind of out of the festive buzz. So I think the better approach to reading a book like this is reading it up to Christmas, obviously. But that's just me. You know me. I always have this thing going on where it's like, oh, this, well, that. Anyway, what did I want to talk about? The characters are very welcoming. The side friends, not the side friends. What is it called? The friends in the story are also very welcoming and comforting. I think Julian is a green flag. I think Madeline. Why do I keep mixing it up? I think Madeline is a very good main character. I like how she's, you know what I mean? Overall, I think this book is really good. It's Hallmark done correctly. It's not that cheesy Hallmark situation you got going on. It does have its moments where it's like, okay, this is a little, like a little cheesy, but it's a romance story. What did you expect? Like that, some of that cheese is necessary. If anything, all of that cheese is necessary. Um, and yeah, I would say majority of it is a clean romance. There is closed door scenes and a few words that are like, I didn't really, had the pleasure of reading, but it should be fine. You know what I mean? This book was really good, but honestly, when I like read a book, I kind of want it to have me staring at the wall, you know what I mean? Like thinking about it and whatnot. And if I'm being honest, the story didn't really leave me having a book hangover, even though it should have, because this is the first book I've picked up in a while, because I've been reading Wattpad. But my first Wattpad story, like that, left me staring at the wall for a couple of hours. And it's like, maybe it's because I'm in my reading groove, so this still counts as a book. Wattpad is still books, so even though this is the first physical book I'm like touching and running my fingers through, like reading with it, it's still a book. So maybe I'm like not in that like zone to have it leaving me staring at the have it leaving me staring at the wall, like aching for more and kind of lost in that flow state. I don't know, does that make sense? I was like, that's kind of like what I think was just missing from this story. Overall, great read. If you're a romance nut like me, you're gonna like this story. I hope I made sense in this little book review. I'm just glad that this is the first book I read for the year, and I would recommend it. If you want more in-depth, though I think I don't really go more in-depth in my Goodreads review, check it out. But honestly, you should just read it for yourself, but maybe go with the approach of reading it, but leading up to Christmas. So I'll check back in with you next year, I guess. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope I was engaging enough. Hope somebody watches this. I don't know what's been going on with my YouTube algorithm lately, but not me reaching for my armpit. I had an itch and then I was like, wait, I'm on camera. Okay, anyway. I don't know what's been up with the YouTube algorithm lately, but it's been drier than the Sahara Desert up in here. So I hope somebody watches this. I hope somebody found my book review entertaining and whatnot. If you did find this video entertaining, hello. Please check out my other videos. I am a romance nut. I love reading romance, and I also love writing romance. So take a look at the links in my description if you're interested in what I have to offer. I'm also writing my own stories and whatnot about romance, if that wasn't already obvious. And again, I haven't been getting much of an audience on that lately. I think the algorithm for anything period has been terrible, but also things have been going on in this world, so nobody really has time. Well, people have time to read, but it's like that shouldn't be like really on the focal point of people's situations right now. So I understand. I'm not trying to be like, listen to me while you are trying to make ends meet and whatnot. I completely understand that, but if you want to support me, interact with my stuff, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Stay tuned for some more book reviews every now and then, because I was thinking of doing like a end of the year, like all the books I read situation, but I kind of have the memory of a goldfish. So I don't think going with that approach would be the best thing, because I'd be like, oh yeah, this book. Like I wouldn't know what to say, at the end of the year. So I want to say it now that it's like not fresh out of my mind, that I freshly finished it, even though I don't think it helped that much. I still kind of didn't really say much, but did say much. I hope what I said wasn't spoilers. Delve into this book if you want to, and yeah, I'll stop talking. This video is 15 minutes. I can't believe I rambled for that long. Hopefully somebody watches this. Anyway, thank you. Bye.